Monique Roberson. Where you at, girl? Let me tell you. She's an entrepreneur. You know what? History. I gotta figure out history facts, okay? Monique right here. We go way back. She came into my store. She had these beautiful t-shirts. This is like way back in the day, 2005. She got me like, I'm a mogul. I'm president. We gotta think big. Boss lady, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, girl, come on in here. Show your t-shirts here.
Let me get this out of the way, because I know it's going to come up in the panel eventually. Did anybody else go to Whitney Young that's in the room? Okay, because you got two golfers on the panel, and for some reason they think they're special. So I love the fact that I get to host this panel, not just because my amazing wife is on it, but entrepreneurship is something that I am extremely passionate about. I had parents like everybody else who said, go to school, get a good education, get a good job. I did that. I became a drug dealer. Legally, I worked for Janssen Pharmaceutical. I was in pharmaceutical sales, and I got fired from my very first job. I was in a very racial territory and ended up getting fired from that job. And from then on, I decided nobody else was going to be able to control my destiny. And I became an entrepreneur then. I've been an entrepreneur ever since. Not a serial entrepreneur, but a multi-lane entrepreneur, because I do a few things and I do them very well. So this entrepreneurial panel, I'll tell you, in life there are mentors and there are mistakes. Mentors hurt a lot less than the mistakes do. So pay close attention to the insight that these ladies are going to give you today when it comes to entrepreneurship, because some of the jewels that they will drop could literally change the face of your business if you have one, or give you the mindset and information that you need in order for you to be a successful entrepreneur. So if you're ready, say, I'm ready. I'm ready. Question number one, ladies. What was the defining moment when you realized your business had the potential to reach new heights? And what mindset shift helped you break through that ceiling?
That's good, sis. That's good. Hey, y'all. Anybody ever reinvent themselves so many times that you found out what you were supposed to do? Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's how I got here. I started off in the music business. I was in marketing and sales in the music business. And from there, I became an entrepreneur. I think I always knew I was supposed to be an entrepreneur. I thought marketing was what I was supposed to do, and so that's what I did. And then 2008, the market crashed, reinvent again. And something else happened, then reinvent again. And social media started to happen. And what I didn't know is that people were now watching my reinventions live time. So I would get a lot of calls of people saying, well, you know, Monique, I know that you just had some deaths in your family. I know you're not doing the same business you was doing last time, because now you got some different business. And I know that the new guy ain't the old guy, so I need to know how you are not under the bed when these things happen to you, because I want to be under the bed when these things happen to me. And I didn't know that people didn't know what I knew. And that was how my thoughts controlled my outcomes. So I started having these conversations. And they would start out and be 2-hour conversations I'd have with somebody. I'd see somebody's post, it was negative, I'd inbox them, then it turned into a 3-hour conversation. I'd talk them off the ledge to do or start or undo whatever they were doing. And I was like, girl, you did no work today. So if you're gonna figure out your new business, you better figure out how to make some money. You're having all these friendly conversations. And those people started to come back. And they would say, what I didn't tell you that day that we talked was I was considering suicide. What I didn't tell you that day was I was at the lowest place of my life when I made that post, and your call changed and saved my life. Or I started that business that we talked about, or I left my partner because it was not safe for me. And then I realized that, because coaching wasn't a thing when you wanted to grow up. How you going to be a life coach? It wasn't a, So when I took this on as a business, I gave up everything, all of my other businesses. And I was making those shirts with in the Cold Store and on Cassie's show and all these things that I had done over the years, and I realized that this was work. I just had to figure out how to monetize it. And now I've spent the last 12 years coaching, and so I think it worked, and I figured out how to become in my purpose and my passion and get paid for it.
I'm a firm believer you can have the most up-to-date computer system with all the latest technology as far as hardware is concerned, but if the software is corrupt, it doesn't matter how advanced your machinery is. So what core beliefs or mindset practices have been most instrumental in driving your success and helping you overcome significant obstacles in your business journey?
For me, it has been a road of flexibility and vision. And when you set the vision a little bit further where it's comfortable, not so far that you don't believe it though, right? Because in all honesty, a lot of our mindset shifts get thwarted because we believed so big that we didn't believe it. Did y'all hear me? We believe so big. We go, I'm gonna have this $1 million this, and I'm gonna have this, and I'm gonna have this, that. But you still own the hundreds, not even the thousands. So it's hard to actually attain the millions. But you have to be flexible because all of those shifts and all of those reinventions that we have all had have taught us something that brings the lesson forward. And if you just extract the part that's the lesson and you use that piece and don't hold on to all the baggage of what didn't go so right in the process, that you can inch toward that thing a little faster instead of getting stuck on what you believe that it has to be. A lot of ladies in here, I don't know if gentlemen, if y'all have the same thing, but we tend to be a little controlling. And so everybody's husband ain't here to tell on him, so I might as well just tell on myself first. But I didn't think that I had a perfectionism issue. I thought I was, you don't have to do all that. I thought I was so flexible, but there's levels of flexibility. And I just encourage you all, wherever you are in your journey, to remember, what was that little green thing they used to just write in the wind outside? If you're not like that in your business and you're not like that in your life, you will be stuck and you will break. And those breakdowns end up lasting longer than they have to. So stay fluid and stay flexible. Keep that vision just out a little further and a little further. You can always exceed your goal and then move it again. But don't get so stuck that now you feel like a failure and you can't emotionally pick yourself up past that.
I don't want for the women in the room that are entrepreneurs that don't have that significant other at this moment to underestimate the value of relationships with what I call your reference group. Right? Your reference group is in one of my books I talk about you are the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. That is your reference group. Right? So if you hang around 4 broke people, you are bound to be the 5th. And what you said about getting in the right rooms and being in the right room is super important. So the nuggets were prayer and belief, flexibility, self-care, environment, and focus. Just in case y'all were taking notes or not taking notes. She asked me a host for a reason. So say it again in case you lost it. All right. Prayer and belief, flexibility, self-care, environment, and focus. We'll post it on Instagram if you missed it. I got to keep moving. Nicole, I'm going to take the liberty to ask a question that just came to me that wasn't on the list you gave me. Because I think a lot of times we have a panel of super successful women. And a lot of times we see all of the glory without knowing the story. And one of the things that stops people from being successful entrepreneurs is fear, right? And so I don't want you all to be fearless, I want you to be courageous. Because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is being afraid and acting anyway. But what is one thing that was a failure for you where you learned the biggest lesson? We hear about the successes, but what is one thing for you that was a failure where you learned a big lesson that helped you in your business?
I'm going to say on this one, ask for help. I have had times in my business and 20 years of entrepreneurship where I didn't have baseline monies. There are times in entrepreneurship where you have surplus, and there are times where them 3 pairs of shoes could be the difference between rent, groceries, or kids' feet certain, you know. And in my, I don't have kids, but I can imagine. But in my experience, this was mid 2000s, and I lost my domain because I couldn't pay. The card was maxed out at the time that the auto pay. It's really loud in the back, y'all. Everybody came to hear, and I want to make sure that we're almost done before we get to the social part. Just please stop talking. It was time to pay the thing, and I lost my domain. And at the time, you know, your website was your brick and mortar. So if you don't have your website, people can't find your www. This is before we could take it off. If they can't find you there, then you don't have a business, right? And I remember crying about it and talking to a friend, and she said, "Monique, how much was it?" I said, $18.99. And she said, "I can't believe that you didn't ask for anybody that you know to help you to do that." And at the time, it was because a shift was required. The next question was, well, what's your next domain? Because then it got caught up somewhere and I couldn't get it back. And someone asked me, do you own your own name domain? I had never thought about it at that time. And so I had to lose something, to learn a lesson, to shift and pivot, to realize that I was the business. Whatever I was gonna call it was because it was me. And I had to go through that rough period financially to teach me. Now I own every kind of Monique Roberson, Monique Spence, Monique everybody, because it set something off in me that allowed me to see the bigger vision of what I was offering to the world. But I also learned that no matter how painful it might be, there is somebody that you can ask for help if you get out of your own ego and get out of your own way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.